Welcome to Basketball on Figueroa, the only podcast covering the Lakers, Clippers, and Sparks. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia, and joining me today is my co-host, per usual, Dar-E-N Vaziri, aka Dime. Dime, how are you doing to start the new year, 2024?
Pretty well. Kawhi's back. That makes me feel good. And yeah, a lot to talk about in this episode. Another very eventful week in LA basketball. And this is really it, Edwin. 2024, the final year where the Clippers and the Lakers are going to share an arena.
Goodbye. That's what I'm going to say.
What if the Clippers actually end up, we'll save the conversation for later, but if they actually win their first championship in Staples Center, oh my God, we'll always have a big chunk of real estate, if you know what I mean.
We'll see about that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
we have a lot to talk about today.
Too much.
We'll talk about how they've looked good and they've played well, including this week. They've won 3 straight. Lakers are a little bit more of a mixed bag, and we have the rivalry. It's rivalry week because we have the game Lakers Clippers on Sunday. So we're definitely going to get into all of that and more on our first pod of 2024. All right, let's start with recapping the games that happened this past week. We're starting off with Tuesday's matchup, Clippers versus Hornets. The Clippers won 113-104. Charlotte's just been, having a rough time, pretty much all year. They got key players like LaMelo out, and they just seem to continue to hit rock bottom and dig. And the Clippers took advantage. They were able to give them their 21st loss. They won 113-104. Again, no Kawhi for this game. He was out for most of the week, and he was out for this game as well. But you're getting really good games from what I see, from Zoo, from Harden, from PG throughout the week. And this was another good Zoo game. What was your biggest takeaway from Charlotte versus Clippers?
That it was harder than it needed to be. This game should have been, I think, a blowout. We only ended up winning by 9, and it was a 2-point game going into the fourth quarter. We were actually down by 7 at one point of the fourth. But yeah, James Harden and Russell Westbrook, I thought were really good. Russ giving you that energy side of things, getting, to the basket, getting rebounds. Some of his rebounds are just unbelievable. He has such good hands when it comes to rebound. His handle isn't the best, but his hands on rebounds on loose balls is amazing. Then Harden, doing his thing. He was countering every sort of pick and roll coverage that the Hornets threw at him. And, Harden's looking a little quicker. I'm saying maybe even a little quicker than Philly Harden. Or maybe it's, I can't speak on it because I didn't watch Harden throughout the regular season the same way I'm watching him now last year or the year before or ever. But in the playoffs, I watch every game, and he couldn't really blow by good defenders with much consistency. So I like what I'm seeing so far from him. And Paul George, he got going in the second half, but it was a pretty unserious first half by him. Solid win and a sellout. Both the Lakers and the Clippers sold out against Charlotte, which brings us to that Laker game the next night.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, just to kind of tack on a little bit about Harden there, I agree with you. Again, he didn't have a proper training camp this year. And again, that's his fault, but also that's part of the situation he was in. We don't have to get into the whole, what happened in Philly, but, he wasn't. So kind of like Kawhi, where we're like, or Kawhi and actually not Kawhi, kind of like Zoo, where we talk about, what's up with him? I'm like, well, it's a small sample size. Maybe that's what's happening. And same thing with Harden. It's like, he's a little slower. He doesn't seem quite there. They were losing the first couple games with him. And guess what? Hey, he looks like he's got his legs under him a little bit more. He feels a little more comfortable. He's been in the system for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And you're starting to see the benefits of that. So I agree. I also I've watched more Harden this year than I have any year except the Rockets years when they were like top contenders. And I agree. He does look to me like he has more of a pep, but I also didn't watch, every single regular season game last year of his time in Philly. So kind of hard to tell, but at least for this year, he's definitely looking fresher than he did at the beginning of the season. All right, so moving on to Lakers versus Hornets. Lakers also took care of business. They beat the Hornets. So the Hornets actually got the double L here in Los Angeles, which,
as we predicted, right?
Yeah, we predicted. Yeah, we'll get to all our predictions later. But yes, we both predicted this one. We said, hey, the Hornets unfortunately, they're just shorthanded. They just don't have the players to really compete. And they do all the little things bad, right? Like they don't defend very well. They don't go out there and rebound. So you mix in all the little stuff they don't do right. And then you mix in the fact that like LaMelo Ball's not there. He's like, the primary scorer. And they're going to struggle. And they struggled against the Lakers. They lost 133 to 112. On the Lakers end, you got just decent games overall. LeBron didn't give you too much. I don't think 17 points. That's kind of like mediocre for his standards. But AD was solid 26 points. And you got a balanced attack on the bench from D'Lo being on the bench. You know, he's been relegated to the bench since Ham made that move last week, and he had a good game, 16 points. Reeves gave you 16, and even Max Christie gave you 10 points with Cam Reddish being out. Max actually got some minutes. I think Max should be getting minutes regardless, but he got minutes here and he did well with them. He had 10 points, 3 for 4 shooting, 2 for 3 from 3-point land. So I really like what we saw from Max and what we got from AD and from the bench in general.
Yeah, LeBron took over that game in the third quarter. He was quiet in the first half, but he had a great third quarter facilitating, getting to the basket. AD was stellar as usual. And the takeaway I had from that game was Max Christie and Christian Wood being inserted into the rotation. You see Christian Wood the last couple of games is kind of taking Jackson Hayes minutes, which is what I think a lot of Laker fans have been saying and what we expected when Christian Wood got to LA. So, and he played really well in that Charlotte game, showing his ability to hit the three ball from the outside. And right now the Lakers could really use some more 3-point shooting. The only fear is, Christian Wood at the 5 defensively. But if it's only for a couple of minutes, I think it might be serviceable depending on who he's got out there with him. But yeah, second half takeover by the Lakers. It wasn't as nervy as the Clipper game at all, but they were only up by a point or so at halftime. It was a close game. Then LeBron really took things over. And as you said, D'Lo, Austin Reeves, very solid off the bench. Reeves and D'Lo each had 16 points. And Hachimura, I thought he was fantastic in that starting lineup that game, 17 points. So, yeah, Lakers taking care of business as they should.
Yeah, and you're right. I've been clamoring for, hey, put Wood in there instead of Hayes, and we can talk more about Wood later. But I think the main thing, like you said, it's can he bend but not break on defense? That's the thing. If he can at least hold his own, and he's clearly not a good defender. It's weird because I was clamoring for more Wood, and then when we got it, I'm like, I kind of see why we don't use it as much. But then I'm like, well, you should see the other guy, right? Like it's just a matter of, hey, there's not a spectacular option as a backup center on this roster. These are your options. You got to go with the best. And I think from what they have, Wood is the best because he's better offensively and he tries it. He's definitely trying on defense. It's just hard. He just didn't develop those skills. And when I talk to NBA players, they say the hardest thing to kind of learn if you're not sharp at it is defense for a couple reasons. One, if you haven't been working on it because you were more of an offensive player, it's hard to make that transition. And two, they've mentioned to me, when I've talked to other players, that it's just hard to replicate. You can replicate offense because all you need is a basketball and a hoop, right? You can figure it out. You can work on your jab step. You can work on your moves. On defense, it's just harder because it's no matter what, unless you literally have a really good core of people helping you, you're not facing NBA level defenders when you're working on your defense in practice. You need someone who's like actually at that speed and that skill set to push you, or else it's like, yeah, you're working on it, but you're working on it with like a D1 player, a trainer. It's not the same. Offense is the same. A corner three is a corner three. On defense, rotating, playing off of the pick and roll, help side defense, off ball defense. It's really, really hard to practice that at the NBA level when you're an NBA player. And I see Wood trying. Like I definitely see the effort. I see his eyes. I see his motions. He's giving his best effort, but it's still kind of lacking in that regard. But like you said, if he can bend, not break, and just not create error after error where he's like really hurting the team or literally getting targeted, which I haven't seen him getting targeted just yet, it can be enough. We're not asking you to play 30 minutes. We're saying 8 to 12, 16 max. Just be out there, be a positive, try hard, and that's all you got to do. And Jackson Hayes was really struggling with that, and Woods definitely played better, especially in this matchup here. So looking good. Unfortunately, next up we have actually we're not going to get to Lakers yet. We're going to go to your favorite, the Memphis Grizzlies here, and the Clippers took care of business. They won 116 or 106. So tell me a little bit about this game and this win, as it was a stringing along games again. Another game with not the full roster ready because you didn't have Kawhi going, but you still managed to get the win here. So tell me a little bit about this game here.
Another game I was at, John Morant just didn't look 100%. He missed the game the night before against Denver with a non-COVID related illness. And Denver back-to-back against the Clippers on the second night. It's tough right now. That's two of the toughest teams to play in the league. And no Kawhi, yes, but I thought James Harden was really good in that game as well. And then Paul George, second half yet again, he kind of turned it on. James Harden had a double-double, but he didn't shoot well. He was actually 4 for 13. But Ivica Zubac, most people I was talking to after the game thought he was the player of the game. 15 points, 20 rebounds. He's been playing at such a high level. His rim protection's been very solid. James Harden's given him even more easy baskets in that pick and roll. And it's like it feels like he's finishing more lobs than ever before. It's because he's getting more lobs than ever before with Harden. And finishing around the basket, he's just got confidence right now. He's playing the best ball of his career. And Russell Westbrook, again, so good off the bench and efficient. 14, 6, and 6 on 6 for 9 shooting. Solid win for the Clippers. Probably their best non-Kawhi win.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Zoo, I've been a fan of Zoo since when he was on the right side of crypto there.
The right side, I think he likes it better over here. Which a lot of players do, by the way.
I mean, I'm sure Russ does.
Oh, absolutely does.
Russ does. Well, for Zoo,
Matt
again,
Barnes, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Beverly.
Oh, well, Patrick Beverly. All right.
Not Ronny Turioff. You can have that one, or Steve Blake.
Yeah, Steve Blake. Well, I'll take Steve. So for Zoo would be a great in the summer talking about Zoo because I dove deep into his career when it started, and you've gotten the rest of it when it's really blossomed. I think for Zoo he was battling for position. There was a lot of young talent on the team, and he kind of seemed to be on the back end of the depth chart and not getting those opportunities. I think if you talk to most Laker fans from that era, that baby Lakers, kind of post Kobe, heading to the pre LeBron and all that stuff. I think most said they were clamoring for give him more time, give him more reps. Yeah, he's flawed, but he's young. And, of course, everyone thinks that Magic deal was just ridiculous, including the Clippers when they made it. And we were like, why did you do this? For what we got? This doesn't make any sense. Really good prospect. Even if you want to get rid of him, don't get rid of him for this. This trade does not make any sense. It doesn't make the team better now, and you're giving up on a young player who shows potential. So I don't think anyone's surprised who's followed Zoo's career with what he is, because he showed that he showed signs of that early on. And obviously the Clippers give him more time. And again, sometimes you need patience. So many times fans are so impatient with young players like Max Christie, like Jalen Hood-Schifino. I already hear it now. Oh, he's never going to be. I'm like, we don't know. I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm saying we don't know. We got very, very small sample size in pockets, high pressure with the Lakers. You can't judge a player's career on 8 minutes when they're 21 years old. It just doesn't make sense. They need more time. And I'm happy Zoo is getting that time and is shining, especially with the early struggles at the beginning of the year. But there's just I don't know. There's just nothing like wearing that purple and gold. I mean, it's special. But I get it, and I'm glad Zoo is doing well. Who knows? Maybe one day he'll put it back on and try to win a ring and stuff. But for now, he's doing well, playing for the other guys. All right, so now we're gonna go to Lakers, Minnesota. Here you can relish these losses here. These were frustrating games. Lakers mini was very frustrating. LeBron's birthday, I was certain he was not gonna play because it was his birthday, because he was sick, and they were like, he's questionable, he's doubtful. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna tough it out on the road on his birthday, and he did. So props to LeBron. Say what you want. He had every excuse in the world to not play in this game. Now that he's playing this game, I don't think he played great, but he played hard, and he was pushing at the end. 108-106. This is a 3-point game. He shot a jumper with, I believe, 3 seconds left. It was labeled a 2. It would have tied the game. It was labeled a 2. Obviously, it went under review because it was underneath the last 2 minutes, and it was very close. Upon further review, it was still called a 2. Different camera angles show that his foot was on the line. His foot was on the line. It's very close. Oh, it's the shadow. It's actually the toe box, but it's not actually touching the line. It just looks above. So I'm going to ask you, Dime. You tell me, 3 or no 3?
I still don't know. I seriously don't. I kept looking at it over and over, and it was like I was looking at an optical illusion or something. So I'm not sure. I will say the Lakers did perform pretty well in this game, though. They just hung around. Just couldn't get over the hump there. Is that the game where D'Angelo Russell hurt his back and didn't play the fourth quarter? Or was that the next night?
That was this one. He hurt his hip. He did play, but he didn't play in he got hurt in the fourth, and he was ruled out the rest of the game. So unfortunately, D'Lo didn't look great when he played, but he would have definitely played more in that fourth quarter. That's why he was on the floor when he got injured, and yeah, he was out. So that's the bummer too. It's like, man, maybe with D'Lo out there, they only lost by 2, and with that controversial call, maybe he would have been the difference maker. But unfortunately, he got hurt in that fourth there. For me, on the is it a 3? Is it not 3? I agree with you. It's neck and neck. Oh man, I think it was a 3 because his foot did adjust and was behind the line, and then of course when he actually goes up, it looks a little questionable. But to me, it was a 3. I knew they weren't going to overturn it because it was too close, and they called it not a 3 on the floor. So I'm like, if it's not 3 on the floor, and you're telling me now you're still conflicted, then that means they're going to go with what the original call was. And yes, of course, LeBron made a hoopla about it. The Lakers made a hoopla about it. They were talking about it. Doesn't make sense. And I totally agree with the frustration. I didn't expect anything less from the team kind of fighting for, hey, man, this is a 3-point shot. Like, what's going on? And although that didn't, I won't say that cost the Lakers the game, because, again, so many things happened beforehand that should have been addressed. That first quarter was rough. The second quarter actually was a little bit rougher. So they had their moments here and there. That doesn't decide the game, but man, it was just a rough one. And it was a great debate for sure on Twitter about, was it a 3? Was it not a 3? There were so many shots. It was like the Kennedy assassination or something. Everyone had a different angle and a different zoom, and this part's there. And what was so interesting too, it was being so close that when you zoom in, it gets more pixelated. So you're also like, well, it's a little fuzzy. So like, is it on the line? So it's going to be one of those ones that your opinion will likely be decided by what you were actually rooting for.
Exactly.
Yeah, there wasn't too many LeBron haters who were like, "Oh no, yeah, he was off the line." Yeah, it was pretty much, if you're pro Lakers, you thought it was a 3, and if you weren't, you didn't think it was a 3. So it was definitely a tough call to make, and hey, that's what happened. Unfortunately, the Lakers played again the next night. I mean, I'm not gonna be out here saying that the NBA is out to get them, but no favors here. You had to play in Minnesota, one of the best teams in the league. Obviously, they didn't know that when they made the schedule, but one of the best teams in the league on LeBron's birthday. He's out there with a non-COVID illness, toughing it out. You rob him of the 3-pointer on his birthday, didn't let him tie the game. He loses. What's his reward? Hop on a plane, fly to NOLA. They landed at 3:20 in the morning, and guess what? You got to play the very next day against New Orleans on the road on New Year's Eve. And guess what? They laid an egg. 129-109, a tough game. I had no expectations of them winning this game when it was happening. I'm like, oh, there's no way. you got gutted in a tough loss the night before. You're getting there at 3-something in the morning. It's the holiday. I was surprised. My biggest surprise was how many people were surprised by this result. I'm like, you didn't see this coming? Like, there's no way they were going to win this game. It did too many things they were up against. And like we mentioned, D'Lo was out. Now he was ruled out for the entire game because of that issue he felt on his hip. Let me double check if it was his hip.
No, it was tailbone.
Tailbone. Right? There you go. Yeah, tailbone.
He took a charge. He took a charge and he landed. He was holding the lower part of his back, but I guess it was his tailbone. And then Cam Reddish was also out with that lingering groin injury. It seems like he's being injury managed or load managed on back-to-backs. You notice that?
Yeah. No, you're right. I think it's a nagging injury, and they're trying to kind of monitor it, which brings us also to Rui in this game. Got hurt, right? Left calf strain, and that's the same strain that has been bothering him throughout the season. So again, some of these injuries, they're lingering, and they're trying to like figure out how to keep you going. And you've seen LeBron and AD on the injury report often, and they've had their games, and we're kind of in the dog days here. And some of these lingering injuries, it's like, again, you have to be willing to play hurt but not injured, and finding that line. And making sure, this is part of the whole debate on load management as well. Obviously, these players are actually injured, so it's not like, oh, they're perfectly fine. You're thinking about something that happened last year, but it's a fine line, because you want to push Rui out there so he can play, but you don't want to push him to the point where another 2 weeks out, another 3 weeks out. And unfortunately, he's already wearing a mask. He had a broken nose just a couple weeks ago, so he's already wearing a masked up for that. And guess what? Now he's got a calf strain and he's out. So he did play in this game, but he only played a few minutes because that calf got aggravated, and then he was out, and it's already been official that he's ruled out for the next game. I'm guessing he's going to be ruled out for more than that, but obviously, no official news besides the fact that he's going to miss the Miami Heat game. But this game was just ugly. That was my biggest takeaway. I was very not interested in this one. It was New Year's Eve. I'm like, look, where they're going to lose, I already know it. I've got the script early. They're not going to beat New Orleans at home. New Orleans also, the context, they were embarrassed against this team in the NBA in-season tournament. Zion was called out. This is the first time he's faced them. Of course he was going to bring it, and he did. 26 points, 8 for 12, 10 for 12 from the free throw line. He had something bothering him about this game, and they brought the best out of him. And with all that concept with the Lakers, they really didn't stand much of a chance here. Did you watch this game here on New Year's Eve, Dan?
I did, and it was one of those, as you said, they kind of laid an egg. They just didn't come out with the right intensity. They got punched in the face, leaving CJ McCollum wide open for threes over and over, even switched to a zone later in the quarter and to no avail. And I thought LeBron, as second and third quarter, he was making shots. AD had one of his more quiet games as opposed to the really good basketball he's been playing recently. And the Lakers just they don't seem to have much of a real identity in the sense of the way they play. Like, they're supposed to be this defense first team, but their defense isn't consistent at all. And with this constant lineup switching in and out, and then these key role guys being hurt that have defense related to their roles very largely, it's just been hard. I think LeBron and AD are giving you what you expect from them. But I also think LeBron looks like he lost a little bit of that juice after the in-season tournament. He was flying in that tournament, and the whole team, that's normal for them to go kind of how he goes, but it doesn't feel like he's had the same pop. Like, he still had some good games, but remember when I said I was getting scared? A couple of weeks ago, I got on this and I was getting scared of the Lakers potentially winning another championship. And now I couldn't be less scared. I think you guys need to do something, because right now it's not good enough.
So, okay. So
I will say that's the last Laker game before this episode, correct?
That's the last game.
Right, cool. So let's get into it.
So yeah, I think they are good. Okay, so are they good enough? Man, that's a tough question.
Are you better than us or the Nuggets? Like, are they better than the Clippers? Like, our third best player is James Harden.
They'll be better than the Clippers on Sunday, but they're not better right now. The record. Sure? I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm sure. We'll talk about that one later. Yeah, they will. I think, again, their highs are high, their lows are low. I think you're right. They did have a bit of an in-season tournament hangover. Again, when you implement something new like this, you just don't know the consequences. I don't think the NBA gave enough of a wiggle room. There should have been more of an all-star break where they got like 2 or 3 days off and then back in action. I think they were back in action 48 hours later. And that's just tough with everything they gave. Because guess what? You have LeBron flying out there. We know LeBron can't do that every night for 82 games. He brought it up because of the NBA in-season tournament. He was taking charges. Like, you don't see LeBron take charges in the regular season. And he was doing that against New Orleans. He brought it 100% against the Pels and the Pacers. So there was a consequence to that. The cost of them winning that was, we're exhausted now, and it's hard to get up for, this one's actually not an in-season tournament game. This is just like a Tuesday matchup. And it's taking them a little bit of time. Add that with the injuries. Add that with a tough schedule. They played a lot of tough teams. They played Minnesota. Dad does not want to hear this. They played some tough teams. I'm telling you that. Again, tip your cap. Teams are out there coming forward, and the Lakers couldn't handle it. I think even with Rui gone, you got Vando, you got AD, you got LeBron, you got Reeves. I think you're going to see a much better team this month than you did last month. I think they're a little bit healthier. I think they'll get D'Lo back sooner. I don't know about Rui, because you know how Cavs are. They're very delicate. It could be a week. It could be 3 weeks. That's just how Cavs are. But I think they're going to be fine. They're going to look a lot better this week and this month because of the players they have. And I think, again, Ham is trying to figure it out on the fly, and that's tough to do. Just like every other coach. I'm not saying that doesn't mean the losses are okay, but they're trying to figure it out. And until he kind of gets a better mix, there's going to be a couple games won and lost here because of that. But I think they're going to be better. Are they better than the Clippers and Nuggets right now today? If the playoffs start, they'd be in trouble. I think as we get closer to March, we get closer to April, they'll be a lot closer. And although I haven't seen a trade rumor or a trade offer that I liked, I think they will make some moves. They will make some adjustments. No team stays the same. Even your wonderful Clippers sold it for Harden, right? They made some moves to get better, to do what they think they need to do to improve the team. I'm sure, whether it's going to be a big trade or a small trade, they'll make some little adjustments. I do not think this will be the exact same roster that we're going to see after the trade deadline, after waivers and everything. No. They'll make some changes. Will they be big changes? Will they be small? That's the only thing I'm not sure of. But they'll make some adjustments, and they have enough, I think, information now to kind of know where they need to improve on and know where they're good. And I'm curious to see that. But regardless, I think you're going to see a lot better Lakers this week, this month. It's just been it was bad December ending there.
You're 17.
So tell me, why did you put your head down as I was contextualizing the situation?
You're 17-17. Like LeBron and AD have been pretty largely healthy. 34 games into the season. Are we just this idea that the Lakers are just going to be able to get any seed and win the whole thing? Like maybe you can make another run to the conference finals, but no Laker team has ever won the championship below a 3 seed. It applies to you guys as well. I'm staying with that 3 seed. That's my new thing after last year. And you don't get up there and you're very far behind. 6 games in the loss column.
So here's what I'll say. I like your 3 seed thing. I'll go 4. I think you have to be 4. I think 3 doesn't necessarily have to be, but you have to be 4. So I agree with you for the most part. But I'll say the Timberwolves do not scare me. The Thunder are a bit young, and I err on the side of caution with young teams. They look great. They just beat the Celtics. I watched the whole game. They look sensational. I watched the second half because I was writing during the first half, but I watched the whole second half and I had the game on the whole time. They looked great, but they're young. What's going to happen when SGA doesn't get all those foul calls? What's going to happen when Chet has an off game? Are they going to be able to overcome those things against these tough teams, in the second round? Right now, if everything stayed the way it was, they play the Clippers. I would pick the Clippers over the Thunder in a 7-game series, even with OKC having home court, because I just don't trust. I don't know what I'm going to get from SGA and Chet and all those guys in that scenario. And I know what I'm going to get out of Kawhi, PG, and theoretically Harden even. So for that reason, you look at top 3 Nuggets, they're legit. They're the champs. That's it. There's only who has championship pedigree coming out of the West. So I think if the Lakers they obviously 17-17, is that acceptable? No. With LeBron and AD healthy, even with the context, they should at least be 600.
Well, why should we believe that you can beat Denver right now? Because that's the bar. That's what I'm comparing the Clippers to. Is can we beat Denver? I think we have the best chance because of our super team. It's looking super right now.
I think Denver's gotten a little bit worse, and I think that they're just a little bit lower. And I think that, along with when they get healthy and they figure out their rotations, they have some things to figure out. I still don't know what the best 5 to go with is and who should be coming off the bench. So I'm not saying they're not a finished product yet. And Ham definitely has to take some of the blame for that, not kind of figuring that out yet. Again, Reeves, I think, should be starting. He's still coming off the bench. Maybe he starts now that Rui's out. But again, are you going to is that only because of the situation? I think some of the big changes is you have to find a way to put Austin in the starting lineup. You have to give Max Christie a shift or 2, keep Wood where he's at, keep Hayes in the back. And I think then once they do those things, I think they're on their way. And I think we've seen Ham start to make those adjustments. He hasn't started with Reeves, but we saw him make this change with Wood and Hayes. We've seen him try to find lineups with bigger wings. Now that he's got Vanderbilt, that's another player. They just barely got him back. He's played like 6 games. So I think now that they have more of their units together, I think we're going to start seeing a better product from them. So they're not there yet. Right now, no. If the Lakers play the Nuggets in a series, you're smart to take the Nuggets. If you're playing the Clippers, you're smart to take the Clippers. But again, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Work in progress. They're not where they should be right now based on who's been available. Even with who's been available, I'll agree with you. They've underperformed. But they got LeBron and AD healthy. They got a good amount of pieces. They still can make a trade. And Ham's working on figuring out the best way to optimize this. So I still think the threat's there. I mean, they just came off of a Western Conference final. They just won the in-season tournament. We saw what they're like when they know they got to do it. I mean, the only team to ever beat a healthy LeBron AD are the Nuggets. That's it. The Suns series, again, AD was down. Props to the Suns for taking care of business. But that's the only time when we see them in the playoffs, they're a tough team to beat. They're going to be tough to beat. So if they're healthy, best of luck, because I think I trust Ham to figure it out ultimately as we go through the season. If that changes, then there might be some tough conversations to have in Los Angeles. But right now, I think that they're going to be all right. They just got to work it out.
You're very optimistic compared to most Laker fans these days.
Yeah, Twitter's been funny. I think people get a little bit emotional, and which
Well,
I
definitely.
understand.
But 500 is, you talk about Jared Vanderbilt. Doesn't seem like Ham even trusts the guy that much. He can't
He
get
starts
30
him
minutes. He starts him. He doesn't get 30 minutes. And
again. He's coming back.
yeah.
I think he's on a not announced minute restriction. That's what I believe. So I think you're going to see him play a bit more as he's ramping up. But we just see like now you got Rui down, so they're dealing with some stuff right now. But I think we'll see. Like I told you, I'll tell you this. You can clip this part. The first game after January 15th, I promise you he gets 30 minutes. So let's see
Okay.
what game that is.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna mark this down. So January, we got January 15th. They play Oklahoma City. I'm calling it now. Jared Vanderbilt will play 30 or more minutes.
Okay.
And if he doesn't, then I'll agree with you because I'm like that's already another 2 weeks healthy. There's no setback, and he nothing. He's played every game, and he's still getting 23, 24. I'll be on your side. So give me that leeway, and we'll come back to it in 2 episodes and see what happens there. All right, the final Clippers game we have. Before we get into, we'll recap our picks and we'll see how we did. I think you're gonna like how your numbers look there. But before we do that, the Miami's actually doing the LA trip right now. They're gonna play the Lakers on Monday. Sorry, not on Monday, on Wednesday tomorrow. But they already played the Clippers on Monday, and the Clippers took care of business again. Now they're rolling, and now you got Kawhi back. I was a little nervous about Kawhi. I'm like, maybe this is serious because he's missed so many games. I know he was close to playing in the one before, but he still didn't play. So I'm like, But guess what? Kawhi came back, and the Clippers won. They won 121-104. How did Kawhi look? Let's start with there. How did Kawhi look on his first game back?
Really solid. He missed 4 games total. Now he's back. Very huge sigh of relief because they kept listing him as day-to-day, even though he missed over a week. So that was annoying, but he's back. Had 0 points in the first, but 13 in the second, and he took off from there. Clippers were actually down by 14 in the first half of this game, and there was no Jimmy Butler, no Haywood Highsmith, no Caleb Martin, and no Josh Richardson. So we needed to take care of business, and we did. Another really strong defensive game from Zubats. James Harden with really solid playmaking, great stuff in the pick and roll, and getting Kawhi involved and getting him some nice touches in the mid post with some good entry passes. Then Russ, again, just a ton of energy. He's so great at getting the crowd involved, man. He's a showman. And Norman Powell. When the Clippers couldn't hit shots in the first half, Norman Powell had 20-plus points, not just in the first half alone, but he started hitting in the first half and ended up having 20-plus points in the game. So he's been really good, too. One of the best bench players in the league, no doubt about it. 22 points on 9 for 11 shooting and 4 for 5 from 3. And I can't brag too much about the Clipper defense because we're not playing against, that shorthanded Heat. Heat aren't even a great offensive team, even when fully healthy. And Terrence Mann had double digits again, so that's good. He hit a 3. He's been really struggling badly with his shot so far this season. So to have him have double-digit games 2 times in a row is really good to hopefully get his confidence moving back in the right direction. And then Mason Plumlee's back, but he didn't play. Daniel Tice, he's been so good in that backup role. Mason Plumlee may just not be in the rotation anymore.
Yeah, it's an ever-changing thing for all teams, right? You start. I always like to a couple things I realized, especially the more I've dug into the NBA, is like again, you don't start with the same team that you don't finish with the same team you start with, and your rotations look vastly different. Like I remember sometimes what I do for every playoff series the Lakers are in is I look into how did these two teams match up in the regular season, and unfortunately, a lot of times that tape is a waste of time because either there've been some trades, so it's like none of these guys are there, or you'll be like, wait, we were starting Avery Bradley. He's not even in the rotation anymore. Like, so this tape's not going to help because 26 minutes are a guy running point who doesn't play anymore, even though he's still on the team. So things are always going to change, and certain players, Lakers last year, besides the trades, forget about the trades. Austin Reeves was like getting DMPs to start this season, and he was the one closing out the Grizzlies. So like the team's changed so much, even within the year, even with the players that never leave and were always on the team, except for you're like PG and Kawhi for the Clippers, right? They're always going to start. They're always going to play significant minutes. They're not going to adjust. But those 5 through 9, that can fluctuate quite a bit throughout the year. And yeah, you're right. Like the Heat are definitely struggling right now. They've been losing games. They only really played 8 guys, and again, that's because of injury. But they're in the same boat against the Lakers tomorrow night. They're going to be out without Butler as well, so they're just kind of struggling. They just didn't have enough to compete with the Clippers. But how cool was it that there was like 4 Bruins on the floor at one time yesterday? That was pretty cool. I saw
4 really good Bruins too.
Yeah, not bench warmers, guys who are like stars, all stars, and you know, and we got some new additions there with in Miami that are making big. I mean, 38 minutes played. That was incredible. He's been like the surprise, I think, from the draft. Wouldn't you agree? He was drafted 17th, and he's like, I don't think he's a rookie of the year candidate, but he's definitely like all rookie first team right now, I would say. And there's just been so many, Wemby's probably like it's his to lose at this point, but he's just been so great.
I think so. You think it's his to lose?
I think when it comes down to it, people are going to say, yeah, but Chet played a little bit, then he got hurt. Wemby's a true rookie. I think that kind of narrative might actually factor
that didn't stop Blake Griffin and Ben Simmons from getting it.
But Blake Griffin was a monster. I think the gap between Chet and Wemby is really close. So right now, that's why I say it's his to lose. I think if Wemby just keeps it up and improves a little, I think he'll win it. But if he starts to fall off, or like midway through the season, he just gets tired of like the workload and he dips. I think it's like the LeBron Carmelo year, where it's like we all know that it was LeBron's to lose. And even though I think Carmelo outplayed him, it was like, yeah, but not enough for that narrative to go away. Carmelo got robbed. Obviously, career-wise, we all know who's better. It's LeBron by like a mile. But Carmelo that year, he played better. I'm old enough that I watched every game I could. That was before League Pass and all that. But I watched every national game of both players, and I can tell you, Melo was definitely the better player. I think even LeBron would admit that. But he didn't win it because they were both really close. And LeBron was Mr. King, witness, chosen one, straight out of high school. So he got it. And I think Wemby's kind of has that advantage as well. He's the alien who can like do things no other human can do. And as long as he does enough of that, I think he'll win that one. But yeah, that's just been a great pickup for the Heat, even though they've lost here. All right, so recapping our picks here, Dime went 4-1. He almost got the sweep. He got every single game right, minus which one was the one that you got wrong? I think you got you had the Lakers winning against Minnesota. That was your only error. And just like my team, I was mediocre. I was 3-3. So I got plenty of wins, plenty of losses. We don't got to break them all down. But the main ones I got wrong were I had the Lakers winning against New Orleans, and I had the Clippers losing to Miami. Those were the ones that you also had. That was the one we both got wrong. So I'm 3-3. So I got some work to do. But Dime was 4-1 this week. So
wait.
You did all
right. I got that one wrong. I thought the one I got wrong was the Lakers.
Oh, sorry. Let me see. Oh, you might have two then, because you have Dime. I have Dime. Have you having the Clippers losing to Miami, and you had Oh no, sorry. You're right. You were right about that. You had that one right. You only had the Clippers one wrong. So yeah, you're still 4-1, but I'm 3-3. So yeah.
I had the Lakers losing both. Wow, I know the Lakers really well.
Yeah, apparently. Yep.
I've been really good with my Laker picks this season.
Yeah, it was the only one that you got wrong was one I also got wrong, which is Clippers Miami. And I'm 3-3, so I was all over the place. So we don't gotta go into each one, but yeah, I just couldn't get them right, especially the Lakers. I gave them the benefit of the doubt in a couple ones there. All right, so before we get into all the games coming up this week, because we got a handful for both teams. They have some decent rest here and some travel, but I want to get to the main event first. Lakers, Clippers. Big brother versus little brother. It's happening Sunday night, 6:30. And just a little recap for everybody. Overall, the Lakers are 151-85 against the Clippers. The Clippers, of course, had that 11-game win streak, which was broken earlier this year when the Lakers finally beat the Clippers. So, Dime, a couple things. One, will you be in attendance? And two, let's go into the predictions now. Who do you think is going to win? Yeah, it seems like you're leaning more Clippers, but I want to hear what you think there.
Not going to be in attendance. Don't have all that money. And then Clippers. Clippers going to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will also not be in attendance because that's my day off. So I don't go to the home games on my day off. I'm surprised it wasn't nationally televised. I know the upcoming one later this month will be. but I thought it would just be an easy.
How is it not nationally televised? Are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm being serious. It's not nationally televised. I
Not
can
even
double
on
check.
NBA TV?
Nope. Let me double check. But no, the next one is they have a one where the Clippers will be hosting Lakers Clippers, and that one will be. But let me just double check. But yeah, I did check before I put it up there. Nope, it's not no NBA T. It's not national anyway. It's just a regular Lakers Clippers game. The next one, which is on January 23rd, which the Clippers are the home team, that one will be on TNT. That will be nationally televised. So yeah, I was also surprised with that. I was like, okay, I guess I don't know if they didn't want to give the Lakers another national game or something. It was just kind of like balancing it out, and they're gonna get that game on national TV anyway. Again, I'm not sure, but I found that weird as well. But that's where things are there. For me, I think this is gonna be a game the Lakers are gonna be ready for. I think you're going to see the best version of them right now. Currently, obviously, we don't know if Rui's going to play, but I have the Lakers winning this one. I think they're going to impress people and be like, "Oh, guess what? Bigger game. They brought it, and they're gonna come with a W." So I don't think the game will be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I think they're going to take care of business. So we'll see what happens. All right, cool. Let's go into the other games we have. Starting off with Clippers Phoenix, which will be at 6:00. Dime, who do you have here winning? Do the Clippers continue the winning streak, or does it end here?
No, we're gonna beat them. KD's not playing.
Yeah, they have looked better to me with living without KD for the last couple games, but I'm with you too. I think
that back. That makes a difference, but
exactly. But yeah, it's still a lot that they're missing. So I'm with you. So I'm gonna put it down here. You got the Clippers winning. I also have the Clippers winning. Cool. All right. And then we have Lakers Heat at 7. So an hour later start time. They'll be here in Los Angeles. I will be in attendance covering it for Silver Screen and Roll. And I have the Lakers winning. Again, same thing. Kind of, for you said KD's out. And for the Heat, they got Jimmy Butler out. They have some other players out. So they're still shorthanded. And now the Lakers finally got a little bit of rest. So I think the Lakers take care of business. What do you think?
Same thing. Lakers take care of business.
Okay, cool. So we have so far all the same. We have all the LA teams winning on Wednesday. Okay, cool. And then Friday, Clippers at New Orleans. So now you're making the trip to the Bayou there. What do you think is going to happen? Clippers, New Orleans on Friday.
We're going to lose. We struggle so much against them. They're the second team, the team besides Denver that we struggle with the most. And they're playing pretty well right now too. So I'm going to go New Orleans.
Yeah, they are playing pretty well. Obviously, I saw them play against the Lakers recently, but they looked well. Besides that, and again, I feel like because of Stephen A. and that whole rant about how out of shape Zion is, I felt like it, and then them losing so bad in that big game, I felt like there was a little bit of an overreaction to it. Like I said, the truth is when the Lakers are at their best, they can beat just about everybody except there's only a couple teams, I think, that can actually beat the Lakers even when they're at their best. And those we've talked about those teams, Denver, Clippers, in my opinion, the Kings. There's not that many teams when they're really cooking that can really beat them. And I think New Orleans got a taste of that. That doesn't mean New Orleans is a bad team. It just means, okay, if LeBron and AD are playing their best, you don't have two guys like that. But guess what? Only like 5 teams in the league do. So the rest of the 20-something, the Pelicans are going to look good against. And one, they actually did beat the Lakers just a couple days ago. And two, you see with their record, they're not like a team that's floundering. I think people just took that loss and like, oh, the Pelicans are trash. And then you look at their record and you're like, oh, actually, they're like 20-12, and they're playing pretty good. And and then now you got Zion kind of activated a little bit because he heard the chatter, and instead of hearing at the end of the season and not being able to respond, the in-season tournament is giving an opportunity to kind of right those wrongs now instead of waiting for an early playoff exit. And you're like, oh, they were disappointing, So again, we're seeing the consequences of that in-season tournament a little bit already and what it's doing for teams. For all you know, I'll be very interested to see if the Pelicans go on a run. Do they mention the in-season tournament? It's like, hey, that was a wake-up call for us, and we got it going after that because we saw, oh, we're not ready for this level when we want to be. So let's bring it. So, yeah, I'm with you. I got the Pelicans beating the Clippers there. So we both have we're kind of high on New Orleans right now. So that's interesting. Okay, cool. And we also have the Lakers playing that night as well on Friday. They're playing the Memphis Grizzlies on ESPN. So this game is on national television. Dime, what are you thinking here? You're going to be doing the greedy with Ja, or you got the Lakers winning this one?
Staples Center?
Yeah, it's the Staples.
Lakers.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's interesting. I was talking to some media people. I won't mention their names, but I mentioned that Ja coming back. I thought they were going to make the play-in still, and everyone I talked to, Dime, I was talking to some pretty big people. Everyone was like, "You're nuts! No, it's over. They're too far behind." And I'm like, "There's a lot of basketball left, and like you guys know how good Ja is, right? Like I think he can get them in the play-in. I'm not saying they're going to do anything, but they were like what 4 or 5 games out of the play-in. I'm like, I think they'll do it, and everyone told me like I started to doubt myself. I'm like, wait, maybe I'm tripping because everyone's looking at me like I'm tripping. And lo and behold, last game I went to on I think it was not the Christmas Day game, but the one after that. One of those media people came up to me. They're like, I think you're right about the Grizzlies. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, there's plenty of time to make the play-in. So I do think the Grizzlies are heading in the right direction, and now that they got their star back, the team makes a lot more sense. But I think the Lakers are going to bring in. I think like I said, I think this month's going to be a lot better for the Lakers. You're going to see a better team. So I got the Lakers winning as well. So let me put that in there. So
they got to take advantage of this. They got to take advantage of this. The Lakers, these 2 games right here at home, get her done.
Yeah. The best way to quiet that noise you're talking about, where the fans are so upset, and again, winning. Al Davis said it best. Winning solves everything. Just win your games,
baby.
Just win, baby. Just win your games, and you know what? You're gonna have that fan who's like, "I'm still mad that so and so is not playing." But you know what? It's gonna start falling on deaf ears because everyone's like, "Okay, we're winning games, cool." When you lose, it's kind of like when you see something wrong with like something you bought, right? Like if your food's late, then all of a sudden you're like, "It don't even taste that good." You know what? The place kind of doesn't look. You start looking for problems. When you see problems, you see more problems, and that's what happens when a team loses. A team's losing, and then the fans go, "Why?" And then, "Oh, it's the coach. Oh, Torian Prince isn't hitting enough threes. So and so's not playing enough. Why isn't the player on the bench would do way better than the player on the?" They start looking for answers to their question due to frustration. You kill a lot of that with winning because, like, okay, oh, you think so and so should play? Well, so what? We're winning, and I think you're wrong, and you can't prove me right. You can't prove me wrong because the team's winning. So again, just like win, baby.
Terrence Mann and Russell Westbrook conversation.
Exactly. Every team goes through these questions of lineups and depth charts and positions and opportunities, but that's where we're at there with that one. So yeah, just win, take care of it. We already talked about Lakers against little brother there. You got the Clippers winning, so I'm gonna put that officially down, and then I have the Lakers winning, of course, and we'll see. That's the first one we have different. But before we wrap it up here, we have one more to do. We got Clippers Phoenix here. So that's on Monday. So we'll record right after. Well, not right after that game. We'll record on the following day. So we won't. This game will happen before we record again. So what do you think? Clippers Phoenix. Who you got?
I'm gonna be there. We got to beat them. Oh no, I'm actually gonna miss that game. I'm gonna miss that game, but we're gonna beat them. God damn it! You're missing good games.
It happens, man. I'm gonna actually go with the loss. I think the Suns are starting to figure out life without KD in the meantime. And I watched the recent game. I forgot who they played, but I watched it on League Pass. And I'm like, yeah, the Magic. And I'm like, they didn't look too bad. So I'm like, you know what? I think they're gonna do enough to win that game. So I'm gonna go with the Suns figuring it out there. And again, you're gonna lose some games that you're supposed to win, and that might be one where, you know what, so and so got hot, so and so was cold, and they did enough. So I'm going with the Suns winning that one on the road. That one actually is on ESPN, so it is going to be. Oh no, sorry, that's the Lakers. Memphis is on ESPN. The Phoenix one is not. So yeah, so that's where I'm going with that one. I think that the Phoenix Suns get the win, and that's where we'll be. So all right, cool.
They disgust me, the Suns.
What is it about the Suns? What's your beef with Phoenix?
Well, let's begin. In the year 2006, when they beat both LA teams in one postseason, we had Lakers.
Let's get in the time. Hold on, I gotta get in the Dime time machine real quick. Okay, go ahead.
Let's start with a guy by the name of Raja Bell. Tried to choke Kobe, and then he hit that 3 in Game 5 of the second round series that made me cry. We sent the game into overtime, and they won to take a 3-2 lead. He misses that shot in the corner. We go up 3-2 heading back to LA. We could have had a conference finals in 2006. Then there's the Tim Thomas effect. The shot he made to take away what would have been one of the biggest accomplishments of Kobe's career, dropping 50 points to close out the Suns and beat them and beat the MVP in a season that he should have gotten it. And Tim Thomas makes that three. God, I don't like Mike D'Antoni. I don't like that style of basketball. 7 seconds or less, shoot a bunch of threes. It was a prelude to the modern NBA. Some call him a genius. I call him Mike Antoni. No D, no emphasis on that end, no ring as a result. I just don't like it. He puts the ball in one guy's hands and makes them a stud by running pick and roll 100 times a game. It's not the ball movement is not exceptional. There's off-ball movement is not that exceptional. He's an offensive genius. In my opinion, he's never going to win a ring. I think he's the biggest fraud of them all in terms of winning a championship. I think, and plus, let's not even get me started with Mike D'Antoni. Laker fans can agree with me. Screw that dude. I mean, what has he done except for cause the Lakers pain? I mean, the whole Kobe Bryant thing about the minutes that he played towards Achilles. I mean, you know how Kobe was. It was a playoff chase. Kobe was not going to be like LeBron and say, well, shut it down. We have no chance to win, so let's shut it down and wait for next year. He went all out. 2019 and 2022, Edwin, that's all I have to say. He had so much pride. He mailed it in.
Well, I'm not. Okay. Now difference. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one alone. But I love the slander there, and yeah, that it's funny because whenever anyone shows those highlights of Kobe in that series, I do love it. But in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, but we lost. Like you do remember we lost the series, right? I feel like that gets missed in all of the hoopla, the 3-1 up. I'm like, yeah, they lost that series. Like that's what I remember. I remember them losing and being like, man, this is nuts. Like I can't believe they lost that one. That was definitely one that hurt me too. It was just, oh man, to be up 3-1 and not get it done.
They also did the same thing in 2021, 15 years later, beat both LA teams, not healthy, by the way. And they're the only team in NBA history to beat the Clippers 3 times in the playoffs. And 2 of them have been in this era when they just get lucky that Kawhi is not there to kick their ass. I can't wait. I want to play them so bad. I want to beat that. If we get a ring before Phoenix, that would honestly make my life. I could die at peace and we could go 0-82 for the rest of my life if we can get the ring before Phoenix. I can't stand them. The Buns. I relish playing them again in the playoffs. I relish it, and I want to beat them. And if James Harden does that, I might just grow out my beard as far as it can go. I swear, he can win me over the biggest way if we can beat Phoenix in the playoffs. I want them out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we get it. Long way to go before we can start looking at oh my god, you got me fuzzled here. Long way before we can start looking at the standings. But man, I forgot that you have this hatred for the Phoenix Suns here. I forgot about it.
Utah. Memphis, Phoenix, and Utah. That's my list. You know, the teams I just don't like.
For me, it's Celtics. Then it's a big gap, and then it's like even the Warriors. I don't hate that much. I actually like the way they play ball. It's just that their fans can be annoying. But like for me, it's Celtics. Then it's I guess it's Warriors, Clippers. But there's a really big gap, as you know. Like there's just a huge gap after that. But it's mainly that. But yeah, there's definitely been those teams, there's those players, there's those coaches, whatever. That like we all have like, oh, I don't like this guy because of this and this and that. But yeah, that was hilarious. That was just a great rant to end everything on. That's definitely gonna make the clipped out section for sure, no doubt about it. But all right, well, we'll recap again next week, see if the Clippers actually do beat the Suns. That'll probably be the first thing we bring up if it happens. But for now, that's the end of the pod, episode 11 of Basketball on Figueroa, the first episode of 2024. Many, many more coming up here. I'm so excited to get to the halfway point, to our mid-season review awards, now that we did the quarter, and just to see how this season goes on. It's so interesting because, like, I'm pretty sure you're the same time. I live my life based on the NBA season. So it's kind of funny, like, oh, Happy New Year. I'm like, we're right in the middle of what we're working on. But okay, cool. So it'll be interesting now this season we get to see in 2024, we can see the end of this season and then kind of go into the next one. But I'm so excited to document it with you and kind of keep going through it here. So once again, this is episode 7 of Basketball on Figueroa. I'm Edwin Garcia. That is Darian Vaziri, a.k.a. Dime Dropper, and we are out.